Welcome back to A Story to Tell from the campus of Dixie State University. Today we're talking to Judith Cooley.
Yes.
Judy, how are you?
I'm fine.
Tell me a little bit about yourself, where you come from, what you've done in your life, and so forth.
Originally, I'm from Chicago, Illinois.
Chicago?
I'm the mother of 4 children, 3 boys, 1 girl. Only 3 surviving. I had a 9-year-old that drowned. I'm the grandmother of 10, the great-grandmother of 1, and another one on the way.
Well, that's fantastic.
I'm also a widow of a Vietnam veteran.
Your husband was killed in Vietnam, or?
He died of Agent Orange after he got out. He did 22 plus years in Vietnam, 3 tours in Vietnam, and the Agent Orange took its toll after he come home.
Were you married to him at the time?
Yes.
How long ago was that?
He died 5 years ago Wednesday.
Tell me a little bit about him. How did you meet him?
He was my boss.
He was your boss?
He was my boss. When I moved from Chicago to Vegas. I did 15 years in Vegas as a property manager. When he wasn't feeling too well, we decided to move to St. George. He liked St. George. So we moved here. I opened up my own property management company. It's called J&C Property Management. Once that started, he got really, really sick and couldn't do anymore. He used to sit and cry because of the way he was treated when he came home from Vietnam. All of the name calling, all of the stuff that was thrown at him. He was told, along with many, many others, to change their uniforms as soon as they got off the plane so they wouldn't get beaten up. Stretchers came off the plane, dirty baby diapers were thrown at them. These guys, some of them were kids, they were drafted, they had no choice but to go. He went because he loved his country and he decided that's what he needed to do, that's where he needed to be.
Was he drafted or did he join?
He joined. He joined.
Was he in the Army, the
Air Force?
Air Force.
He joined Army, did 3 years in the Army, and then transferred over to the Air Force, which he was a teacher, a tech sergeant. He did a little bit of everything. He was also search and destroy, and that's all I can say about that. He, horrible, horrible nightmares. I mean, he would wake up screaming and fighting, and if he heard a car backfire, he nosedived for the ground. He was a people person, though. He got along well with everybody. When I was involved with real estate, we would go to the meetings, the inaugurations, and everybody remembered his name before they remembered mine. So he was that type of person. He was a grandfather. His kids, they loved him. He was Papa. To this day, my daughter still has his ashes in her curio cabinet. My oldest grandson that lives here has his flag and his medals. And my youngest grandson that was the closest to him has all his memory boards in his bedroom and still cries to this day about how he misses his papa. My one grandson joined National Guard, following his grandpa's footsteps. When he was in the hospital with many other veterans, it was horrible to see the way these men died after serving their country the way they did. How many horror stories were told about the way they came home and the way they were treated. So I started, I promised him before he died that someday I would get a thank you for him. So I and a friend of mine that works for me, Nikki Watterson, she's been tremendous in helping me. Her dad was a Marine and treated horribly when he came home, which is now dying from Agent Orange. So I started this, and slowly but surely it's coming into focus. I want a Vietnam Veterans Monument for the guys that served, the guys that died, that none of them ever got. Thank you. Thank you for your service. Welcome home. No one got a parade, no one got a balloon, no one was happy to see them when they come home. They were treated horribly. And I want to change that. I want to finally Make it so these guys, at least the ones that are still living, get their thank you, the respect that's due. So we now have a monument that's drawn up by Kenworthy, 6 feet tall, 10 feet wide. In the middle we'll have the emblems of all of the services with a verse. And on each side will be the names of the people that want to be on that wall. If their families want them on that wall, they just have to notify me, sign a release, their name goes on that wall. It's free of charge.
Is this a local thing?
It's going to be at Zion Harley Davidson. And it will be permanent, forever.
Is it for just local people?
It's for Washington County.
Washington County.
I mean, who knows, it may grow and be bigger than that, but it's overdue. We've had many functions, and the veterans that come out, they greet each other not with hi, hello, or how are you? Hello, brother, welcome home. Because that's the only welcome home they get is from each other. So I think it's such a worthy cause that these men get what's finally overdue to them, their respect. I wear an Agent Orange pin, which is a teardrop that we sell when we have our fundraisers. We try and get the word out to as many people as we can. We just did an article with the Spectrum and had 3 of the veterans that served over there, Bruce Rafferty, Pete Carter, and Dennis Victorino. Dennis still cannot talk about it. He completely broke down. St. George, when we first started it, St. George News did a fantastic article on it. But we're still having trouble with funding. I have my E&I number. We've got the name registered. We've applied for our 501c, but we're still waiting. And we're waiting months. We have and done, I think, everything that we can, except we just can't get that funding started.
How much money do you need?
We need $20,000+. Right now we have $4,000. We have a few pledges that are still sitting out there, but we can't get them till the 501c comes through. So we're fighting really hard and doing as many fundraisers as we can. We have yard sales, we have raffles and dinners. We just had a big massive raffle and dinner entertainment up at Zion Harley Davidson, which thank God we had so many people we ran out of food. We had a lot of raffles. A lot of the businesses have been really supportive and donated lots of dinners and items, and one place donated a brand new guitar. Another man donated prints that was his sister's sign that she had done. They're fabulous. So we're working on getting support from everyone that we can. I'm getting all kinds of people that now want to become friends with me on Facebook, and most of them are all Vietnam vets. Matter of fact, one of them is the very first Vietnam veterans group that started. So I think now that the word is getting out, maybe, just maybe, we might get the funding we need and get it started. It'll be a beautiful place. There'll be benches to sit next to it so that someone can come and reflect. I've talked to a few of the counselors from the VA here, and some of them seem to think that this might just be a closure for some of them. It may help them to say, okay, finally someone cares. Someone cared about what we did. We weren't all these names that people are calling us. We're your brother, your sister, your father, your son. We're a person. We did what we thought was right for our country. And because they did what they did, we still have our freedom here today. We can still fly our flag. But they, some of them are still treated to this day like second-class citizens.
Why do you think that is?
I don't really know. I think it was a war that some people thought we were doing wrong, but these kids, these men had no choice in it. They were doing what they were told by their commander-in-chief, which was the President of the United States. You know, if you're in the service.
Who was the president then?
I believe it was Kennedy. So they joined, or they were drafted They didn't want to, I don't think any of them really wanted to do what they had to do over there. When my husband come home, he couldn't stand to see a child cry. He had to leave the room. He couldn't be in a crowd for a long time because of people crying or laughing. He couldn't ever talk about it. When he got really, really sick, I woke up and he was gone. In the middle of January, he was just gone. So we went looking for him. We found the fire department found him in Washington City. We lived in St. George. He had walked over there barefoot because he thought he was still fighting. He was still in Nam. But in the back of his mind, he was looking for his wife. My wife's over here. I know she's over here. But yet he was still fighting. When we talked to Dennis the other day, he's still dreaming of the bombings. You know, he can't sometimes even sleep in the same bed as his wife because he starts swinging. The nightmares are horrible that these guys, it's the same as the guys got today. Back then, it wasn't treated as PSTD. You know, way back when, it was treated as shell shock. In Vietnam, I'm not sure what they caused it. So many suicides out there from these guys because they don't have the treatment. They don't have what they need. They don't have that support. There's 1,100 voting military retirees here in Utah County alone, Washington County.
Are these Vietnam veterans?
Some of them, yes, some of them not. But we do have the American Legion behind us. We have the Vietnam veterans behind us. We have the Mayor's Coalition behind us, and many other supportive groups. They're all behind us. You know, go for it. We support you totally. At every function, Ellen Nathan, which is with the American Legion, she attends every function that we have to help us out. Unfortunately, we've had a few functions where it was only 4 people. We had one yard sale that it was 117 degrees humid, and it was 4 people that unloaded the storage shed, loaded the truck, unloaded it at the parking lot where we were having the yard sale, and the same when it came time to pack up, it was the same 4 people. 2 of them in their 30s, one 77 years old, and another one 68 years old. That was our help at that time. Since then, the word has gotten out, and we've gotten a lot more support than we had before. We have bankers and insurance agents, stores, just local little people, tenants. Every one of my tenants have come forward and have donated something that goes for this. They wear their flags. They wear, at my complex, you'll see flags flying everywhere. We fly them proudly. And no one will ever tell me I can't.
Agent Orange, can that affect subsequent generations?
7 generations. Yes, it'll fall down 7 generations, which we've seen some of it with Nikki, her son. She's, like I said, her dad has Agent Orange. She has some problems from it, and her children have problems from it. And it's followed down in 7 generations.
Has the government done anything to take care of this?
The government has just now realized that Agent Orange will cause leukemia. So they've taken care of that. They've helped the vets in that way. They're working on now saying that it has affected in other ways. But what exactly they've done that I'm aware of, I don't know. I try and follow through, but it's not always out there. I volunteer at the VA on Dixie Drive, and that's the intake center. And you do see a lot of people come in that just, they're not living the life that they should live, only because they have so many demons left from Vietnam. I truly believe that when these guys came home, if someone had treated them a little better, there would be a lot less suicides than what we have now. We have so many homeless veterans out there. I not only have formed this entity to get the Vietnam Veterans Monument going, I'm also the VA chair for the Elks here in St. George, 1743. So I help, we go to the nursing homes. I have a group. Again, Nikki Watterson is one of them. She's like my right arm. She helps in any way we can. We go to nursing home. We meet with activity directors. We try and find out how many veterans they have, what their needs are, what can we bring them. We're having a luncheon for all the veterans on November 10th at the Elks for every veteran family that want to participate. It's all a free lunch. The same thing in December. We are having a massive Christmas party for veterans, their family, their kids, their grandkids, Santa Claus, dinner. We'll have presents and gifts, entertainment. It's for them. They deserve it. Whether it's World War I, II, III, whatever, they're all welcome. They all deserve whatever we can give them to help them.
There's been a lot in the newspapers lately or on television about how badly the VA administration has been treating people. Has that gotten any better lately?
That, in some ways, I believe it has. They've really tried. It's just that there are not enough doctors out there that can help them. There's not enough people that they can talk to. They can't just go and talk to you or me and tell you what happened over there. They need somebody that's really qualified. I don't believe there's that many people out there qualified. I know Rafferty helps them in any way he can. Danny Greathouse is out there and he helps them. Anyone that comes to us, we do our best. We have a pantry that has microwaves and all kinds of kitchen supplies, and anything that we can get a veteran back on its feet into an apartment rather than living on the street. We're there. We try and do that. If it's to pay a bill, to pay the rent, any way that we can help them. I've added my name to Switchpoint with my complex, which is Canyon View Apartments, that if someone needs something, contact me. I will help in any way I can. I work with the church. I work with those entities to help the homeless, to let these veterans know that not everybody is against them. I'm there for them. Nikki's there for them. Her husband's there for them. Danny Greathouse and all of the Vietnam vets. I mean, we help in any way we can. Danny has functions. I have functions. Danny just put on the Veterans Conference not too long ago at the Abbey Inn. There was a lot of, the Marines were there. The Marines have their breakfast up at the Elks. The Vietnam vets have their breakfast up there at the Elks. If someone gets a call that a veteran's in need, any one of us are there to help. We're all there. We just need to get the word out that these people, because they may act a little different or they have problems, they're still a human being and they're a veteran and they need help. Not a slap in the face, or not calling them a baby killer or throw stuff at them, or say, well, you know, you don't count, that war was just horrible and you just don't count. That's not true. They have freedom today because of what those guys did. I have friends on the wall that died over there because they fought in what they believed in. They believed in freedom. They believed in America.
Now the wall is just for people that died?
That died. The memorial wall from Washington, that's just for the ones that died. My memorial is for the ones that are still living as well. They want their name up there. They can go see their name up there. They can go talk to other people that were in Vietnam. They can come and sit. They can chat, have a coffee, and just sit and cry. Just remember a friend that died, or a brother, or whatever. They don't have to wait for it to come from Washington to see something. They can come there and sit and have some closure and feel closer to their camaraderie that they have. It's needed. It's long overdue, and I think that it's going to help a lot of people. If it saves one person from committing suicide, it's all worth it. If it heals somebody that was in Vietnam that says, okay, we thank you. We personally, the United States, we thank you for your service. We as a community thank you for your service, and we want to welcome you home. I have friends that I've told them that I'm doing this and have just sat down and cried because no one has ever cared before. I get notes and people that come to my office that say, thank you for caring. It's overdue. I seen what my husband and many people went through, and it was wrong the way they were treated. They had no choice. Some of them had no choice. And I think as a free country, that we, all of us, that have mistreated these men and women, nurses, doctors, whatever, that served over there, got a lousy deal. I think they should be thanked. I think that they should be welcomed and saying, we were wrong. You know, thank you, thank you, thank you. A parade even. And we have a parade every year for Veterans Day, and one Vietnam vet walked up and asked him if he could walk with them. And he said he cried because there was just a few people that said thank you. And it was just such a great feeling. But when the parade's over, those people forget about you. It was just then, thank you then. Well, what about tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day? Nobody else says thank you. One or two at a parade. What about the rest of the world? Don't they deserve more than what they've gotten? They don't deserve to be shunned. We met with some people, and I had Steve Dukes from the DAV speak to somebody, and I would rather not say who, and say, we served over there. When do we get our due respect? When is it our turn? When do we get our respect? When do we get thank you? What about us? And he was told, thank you for speaking. That was it.
What should we do as non-veterans? I laughingly say I shouldn't do this, I guess, but that I'm a veteran of the big war, the war between the sexes, but I shouldn't even bring that up. But sometimes it doesn't even get a laugh, but what can we do to help?
If you see a veteran, and they'll wear their hats and say, I'm a Vietnam vet or Vietnam veteran, walk up and say, thank you for your service. Thank you for our freedom. Or welcome home. If you see them in a restaurant, buy them a coffee. Say, what can we do to help you? Is there anything how can I help you? All they need is a handshake and a thank you. It's a start.
Is there anything more the government should be doing?
Open up their eyes. See how they allowed this treatment to be done, and nothing was followed through, nothing was done to help them. They let it happen.
Is this the
Get
war
someone that cares about the United States of America. Get a president that cares. We need to have our military back in full force. We need to know that this is still a free country.
Is this the war that Jane Fonda made a fool of herself in?
Yes.
She was just recently named one of the 10 something other women of the century or something.
Yeah, well, she was a traitor. And if you ask any veteran out there, they will tell you the same thing. She was a traitor.
It's weird how we are. We shouldn't be that way.
She was against the war, so she became a traitor against our men out there fighting for her survival, for her to have a freedom of speech. Excuse me, I get a little upset.
Well, tell me a little bit more about yourself. You were born in Chicago, did you tell me?
I was born in Kentucky.
Kentucky, I'm sorry.
Moved to Chicago when I was 3. Raised in Chicago, Illinois. My grandma raised me. Great lady. Lived to be 87. I guess I picked up my work ethics and my moral ethics from her. I believe that, to be honest, to be truthful, I used to tell my kids, if you lie to me, it hurts you a lot more than if you tell me the truth. The punishment is less. They were raised on that. They've raised their kids the same way.
How many children did you have?
I had 3 surviving, 2 boys and a girl.
What are they doing now?
My daughter did work for Toys R Us as a merchandiser.
Here in town?
No, she's my oldest, my only daughter is in Chicago, and my youngest son is still in Chicago. I have my one son that lives here in Utah. He works for the city of St. George, as does my daughter-in-law. My grandson works there as well.
What do they do?
My daughter-in-law is the city recorder for St. George. She's worked her way up from working in the Emporium at Samstown in Vegas to the city recorder to St. George.
What's her name?
Christina Fernandez.
I know her.
Do you? That's my daughter-in-law. My son is her husband, and he works for the city in the water department. And my grandson, he works on the grounds. And my other one works for Wendy's. My granddaughter.
I had a daughter named Wendy.
Ah.
Adopted daughter.
Uh-huh. My granddaughter is also a little protege that plays the viola like you would not believe. She's played here at the college. She's played with a few people that came over from Russia and China to play with her and her group. She also plays rugby, believe it or not.
Viola and rugby?
Rugby, yes, yes. She loves
We have a daughter
rugby.
that played the viola and played soccer.
Ah, so.
We're almost related.
Yeah, see that? And then my youngest grandson plays football, and he is on a traveling team called the Vipers, baseball team. They travel all over.
Vipers?
The Vipers. They travel all over Vegas, Utah, and play against other teams. They have tournaments, and he also is playing football this year for Pineview, I believe.
We got a minute left. What's your final word?
Help us, support us, help fund us.
What advice would you give young people today?
Wake up, get off,
That's really good.
wake up. It's a hard world out there. Wake up.
Well, Judy, thank you very much for being with us on A Story to Tell. My heart goes out to the veterans, especially it goes out to everybody that we treat badly. And for some reason, I don't understand why we treat veterans the way we do.
I don't know.
Maybe there's some reason for it, but I can't figure out what it is. Anyway, we've been talking to Judith Cooley. She's been talking about the Vietnam veterans who are alive memorial.
Monument.
Monument, okay, you're right. Thanks for being with us on A Story to Tell.